Well, well, well. What's going on, family? It is that time to get the Tiki Bar off and running. So let's get it.
Lin, Win, Stone, you're mad for this one. Oh, welcome to the Tiki Bar, yeah. I want me say, BYOB. I that me say, pure good vibes as soon as I reach. No disrespecting, so watch your speech. 6 p.m. sharp, no hunger belly. Every Saturday, girl, them bring the jelly. Sing out, tiki, 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 tiki. As you arrive, respect each other. Step up to the bar, we are sister and brother. Nobody bring no bad mind thing in our convo. I deal with in the big and show free admission, don't be late. Open door policy, no apology. Winstone and Lynn, your friendly bartender. Real people here, no pretenders. Nights with friends, no hidden agendas. We talk the things, the red spot the things, them. Make we laugh, joke, cry if we have to. Big people things, turn up if we have to. Welcome to the Tiki Bar, yeah. I want me say, BYOB. I got me say, pure good vibes as soon as you reach. No disrespecting, so watch your speech. 6 p.m. sharp, no hunger belly. Every Saturday a gal and bring me jelly. Sing out, Tiki, 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 Tiki Bar. Sing again. Bye. Welcome to the Tiki Bar. I want me say, BYOB. I got me say, pure good vibes as soon as you reach. No disrespecting, so watch your speech. 6 p.m. sharp, no hunger belly. Every Saturday, girl, they bring the jelly. Sing on, tiki, 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 tiki bar. So,
Welcome to the Tiki Bar. Why the banana are going wild tonight? Blessings to each and every one in the building. Man, it's only been a week, but boy, it feels like a lot longer than that. I missed you guys last week. But, duty calls. Got to go to work, do what I got to do, pay the bills. You know how you do. Yeah, man. So, welcome to the Tiki Bar. Welcome back. I'm going to go over the ground rules for those people that are new to the Tiki Bar. And I think my loyal Tiki Barers, if that's a word, know the rules already. So, but we always have to go over the ground rules. So, at the Tiki Bar, we're all about having a spirited discussion, having fun, and being respectful of each other. Okay? So, the way the Tiki Bar works is when you check in, make sure say you like up the live. All right, that gives you security is gonna give you your armband. Then you can step into the lounge, the bar. All right. And once you're up at the bar and the discussion started at any given time, and then let me go ahead and do that now that I'm thinking about it, I am going to drop the link in the chat. So anyone at any given time can come on stage and, as we say, step up to the bar and join the conversation. At the same time, you can also, respond to the conversation in the chat as well. So if there's a question being asked or you just have a comment, I will try my best to make sure I read all the chat and converse with my folks that are on the panel or at the bar at the same time. So if I miss you, it's not intentional, okay? I just happen to miss you. As you can see, I've been working out, so no, I'm just joking. Yeah, no, I have been working out, but I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. Still working on my physique. It's been a minute, but the change in work, so forth, the environment. So I can't do the tiki bar every Saturday like I used to do. And hold on, give me 1 second. Let me pin this in the chat so you can see it. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see the pin link to the chat, and then we will continue on. So let me go ahead and go through and say welcome to the people that's in the chat right now. I got the Moose in the building. Who else I got? I got Tim Mitchell, blessings. Chef Civvy, what's going on? We got Butler Family Farm 2005. We got Miss Beverly Moffitt. Miss Beverly Moffitt, let me go ahead and get you squared away. So one of the things we do here in the chat as well is we like to interact because we don't just have, you know, uh, non-content creators. We also have content creators, okay? And what we do is we also want you guys to link up and talk to each other, meet each other, support each other, because it's all about community over here. If you've ever been at the Tiki Bar before, it's all about community. We build community, no pun. Sir Oliver in the building. Yeah. Oliver Unfiltered JA, my brother. Oliver, I'm just get your message, Look, I've been busy. Look, you will see. I got a video coming out probably tomorrow or Monday. I've been busy. Saturdays go by so fast on the way up to the Tiki Bar because it's like if I had nothing to do, it would be like 9 o'clock in the morning right now. But when I have the Tiki Bar coming up, the day just flies by. So everything that I have to do, I have to. You said the pin didn't take? All right, let me try it again. Let me try it again. Let me try it again. Give me 1 second here. Well, as good as technology is, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. All right, let me go back in here and try to pin it again. All right, let me get a thumbs up if that pin took. Because I can't talk to myself. I need you guys' support to come up here and talk to me. Because them say the first sign of madness is when you start talk to yourself. So that's kind of the hardest part. But I mean, I can have a conversation with myself, not in public, but which kind of leads into our conversation tonight. So let me go ahead and put our topic across the screen here so you guys can see what the topic is. Talk to me. That's all I'm going to put is talk to me. All right. So the topic tonight is just how we interact with people on a general basis. All right. And it's kind of interesting, especially for my content creators, that everybody seems to be shy. You know, everybody seems to be shy, even though they're content creators. So I don't know what that means. I'm like, okay, you guys are content creators. You know, I mean, again, this is a place where we come together to talk about real life topics, we share experiences, and we learn from each other. You know, so right tonight we're talking about the fear of public speaking. It's something that affects millions and millions of people around the world, and it's kind of funny, the fear of public speaking. Some people say they would rather do almost anything than stand in front of a crowd and speak. I'm the same way, and I've stood in front of a whole lot of crowds and spoken. But I could tell you, the fear was in me. Yeah, the fear, you couldn't tell. I got a good poker face, right? I'm hiding behind the beard too, right? But let's see how I got the coffee cake loving. Oh, okay. Welcome in. Okay. Let me go ahead and get you squared away too. Welcome to the Tiki Bar. Let me get you squared away. Give me 1 second here, people. So I'm working with multiple devices here. Get your mind out the gutter, my dirty people out there. Devices, computers. Okay. So welcome in the coffee. I'm just gonna call you that. The coffee kick. Welcome in. Welcome to the Tiki Bar. So anyway, the question is, why does speaking in front of people scare us so much? You know. So the first thing I want to ask everyone in the chat something. Have you ever been nervous speaking in front of a group of people? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes. Have you ever been nervous just speaking in front of a group of people in general? Got my coffee. You like my little mug? Somebody's in trouble. Chef Stevie say all the time. Coffee says lack of confidence. Beverly says yes. Okay. I'm gonna wait for so everybody's is no nobody's like not scared of speaking in public. The party's on the horizontal. That could mean so many things. That could mean I see everything from my end, but that could mean so many things. But yeah, so everybody is basically so far that's answered is saying they're afraid to talk in public. So Coffee said, yes, I have. Then when you keep doing it, you get over it like flying. Okay. Actually, I have flown for a long time. I've actually jumped out of planes when I was in the military, and I still haven't gotten over that. So- and even now, to this day, I still haven't gotten over public speaking. So you would think, I'm here doing a live every Saturday, and I have to interact with you guys and girls, men and women, right? And Bill, Uncle Bill's in the building. Welcome, Bill. Thank you for checking in. So you would think that I would be very good at public speaking, which a lot of people tell me I am, but I don't feel that way, because if it's I feel like if it's a natural situation where, for example, it's just me and my friends, then it's kind of different. Like if my boss called me tomorrow and be like, hey, I got a bunch of kids coming through tomorrow and I need you to do a presentation on your job, like the nervousness just comes on. Right. And all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to talk in front of nobody, you know. And High Desert Living, welcome in. Nina in the building. Yeah, man. Hey, once you guys check in, make sure so that you're checking with security, which that means you got to leave a thumbs up and you get your security band so you can get to the Tiki Bar. All right. And again, give me a thumbs up if you can see the link at the top. If not, I will pin it again so you can join the bar. Come in, I was sitting here all night and talk by myself or talk to myself. So anyway, so again, my question is, why are people so afraid, you know, to talk in public? Is it like fear of judgment, fear of messing up, maybe past embarrassing moments, lack of confidence, What do you guys think? And again, anybody can come up on the chat at any time. Join the live chat. Don't be scared. It's why we here. But what do you think causes fear the most? You can type it in the chat. It's on the horizontal, it's not on the vertical. Okay. Give me 1 second here. Why is it not on the vertical? All right, let's do this. It should be on both. Let me go back into the chat. I'm gonna pin it again. You guys are putting me to work tonight, but I do want to talk to you. So let me do it again. All right, there it is. Get on it quick now. Let me go ahead and see if I can pin it again. Who is in the building? Roxanne British. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. All right, so I'm gonna unpin this. This is the vertical. So it's on the horizontal. It's not. It's on the vertical. It's not on the horizontal. Is that what you're telling me? Uh, hmm. Okay. I don't know what's going on. Maybe you guys need to pin message, and then let me pin it again. Pin message. All right. How we looking? Did that work? It's supposed to go to both. So if you're not seeing it in the horizontal, go to the vertical and come up on the stage. All right. So who we got else in the building? We got Roxanne British just checked in. Yeah, man. Food for Nyam. You already know. Welcome in, Roxanne. Roxanne. Nah, I ain't gonna say the rest of that. But anyway, back to the topic. You said still not horizontal. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Oh, you know what? Let me do this. Let me do this. Let's fix this. Cause you know what? The good thing about you guys actually help me to do better. You know? So yeah, I'm still waiting on somebody to come up anyway. So let's go. YouTube. Because it's all about making things better, right? And I don't know if there's a difference with you on the platform, but here's my vertical. All right. So now let me go in and pin the chat. Boom. All right. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Did I do good? Did I make it? Is it on the vertical and the horizontal now? There we go. Hi, Chef Civvy.
Hi, Win.
What's
How you
going on?
doing?
I
Oh,
am
just
good.
we
I,
actually have some blue sky for a change.
I know. I know for the last 2 days. And it's getting warm.
Not warm here. I'm still wearing my hideout hoodie.
Oh, see, I got my little hoodie on. Look, that's the only reason why the Tiki Bar is not outside yet. So for you guys, I'm still finishing up the Tiki Bar. It's almost complete, but it's still not warm enough to be outside yet. I mean, I don't want to be outside in a sweater, you know. So, how are you doing, my dear?
No, just hanging in there. Went to get a massage and hit the grocery store. Picked up a pork butt because it
Okay.
seems kind of silly to just smoke a corned beef. So,
Jerry
uh,
Butler's in the building.
hey Jerry,
You
one
see,
of my partners in
it was.
crime. What's shaking, bacon?
Yeah, I tell you what, this I don't like StreamYard. StreamYard. It makes you wants to make you sign up a new account.
Does it?
Yep, you want me to sign up a new account, and I don't want to sign up with StreamYard anymore.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Well, I still have my account, but I'm not paying for it anymore.
I canceled mine a long time ago.
Yeah, I canceled mine when they wouldn't let me have the Black Friday special. I'm like, oh, so you want me to? It's not worth it. Nope.
Well, I mean, there's so many different platforms out there. So I think everyone is This is the one I'm most comfortable with right now. I know a lot of people have been using other platforms too. So as I get a little bit more versed, I will try out other things. But this one is kind of the simplest one for me, of course, which is why I'm going through problems.
Yeah.
Hey, the moose, Nina.
But I'm glad you guys are here because you know what? You guys are perfect for my question. What causes the fear for most people not want to talk?
I don't know. I've never had that problem.
What about you, Chef CB? I know I shouldn't even ask you that question.
Oh, for me, it was always being told that I sound like a guy.
Really?
Yes, I get called sir every single time I'm on the phone with somebody, and it's just I've always had a low voice for a
Mm,
woman, so a lot of people they've judged me for that, all my years. And when I did have really short hair, um, I was always called sir all the time, and I just kind of got used to it a little bit. But
wow.
it just wasn't wasn't something that I used to just you know not talk in public because if I didn't talk in public, then maybe people wouldn't question my gender.
So I mean, does that like increase or decrease your confidence in speaking to people? I mean, granted, they were talking to you over the phone, so it's not like they knew who you were, you know. But to
I don't think it's a confidence thing for me. I think it's more, you know, being embarrassed for the person that doesn't seem to understand that, yes, women can have a low voice
Mhm.
and
No.
it's just preconceived notions, man. Just all those preconceived notions. You know, people come up to me and they try to talk to me in Spanish. I'm like, I don't know Spanish. I'm not Spanish, you
So
know,
that's yeah, yeah.
and it's just easier to just not speak in public. But there's been sorry about my dog. My dog is barking at a leaf floating across the street.
Good
Hey,
dog.
yeah. Um,
But
there have been times when I've had to do public speaking events,
mhm.
particularly for the Chamber of Commerce,
Oh
and it
wow.
was for minority women in business. And that was very uncomfortable. I actually had to go out to my car and pop a clonazepam just to be able to go back in the building and start speaking because I don't like that kind of attention on me.
Hmm.
I think that's what it is. Is it just mainly that I don't like that attention on me. In front of a camera, it's different, you know. But you know, in in
So let
front
me
of a whole
ask you.
bunch of people sitting there staring at you, it's like, God, I don't like this. This is
so let
uncomfortable.
so let me ask you this: if it was a situation where you knew there was a camera on you, same situation, you had to give this speech in front of the Chamber of Commerce, but now it's like the camera's there and you're just looking into the camera, not looking at the audience. You know, does that make a difference?
No, I've even tried taking my glasses off too. Thinking maybe if everybody just looked like a big blur, that maybe that might be. It's all psychological. It's all just about being in front of people, being present in front of people. There have been times when I've had to teach uh, sports nutrition classes to the fitness clubs. That was the one of the sister companies to the company that I worked for, and talking to them was not a big deal because I saw them every single day. But Chamber of Commerce, I might have seen maybe a dozen of them almost every single day. So it's like, and there were 400 people there. It just yeah, and then everybody keeps saying, "Why don't you get on a Hell's Kitchen and get on the Chopped and do this?" And I'm like, "No, no, I don't need that. I
I
don't
still
need
want
that."
you to go against Bobby Flay.
Look, people tell me that all the time too. Said I should try to do that, but I'm like, no, I don't. Like as much as I like doing my content and being on doing my lives, like that would definitely make me nervous being on like the national stage, which in some senses we are on a national stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You
it's
know,
different.
International stage.
international stage,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But to me, it's like the pressure comes from the fact that now you're in a studio, you know, and there's lights and there's like all this stuff, and there's, of course, a lot of that stuff is scripted as well too, right? So they want you to stick to the script and all this other stuff. So to me, it's like, man, I'd be more nervous doing that than I am building my own content. Maybe because I have more control over it, you know. So I got Belt Loop in the building as well. I got Jerry. So Belt Loop, what say you about this public speaking thing? Does
Oh,
does it does it make you nervous?
I can't even talk on the panel.
That's because you eat them
Hey,
cookies.
eat
That's
them
because you
fake
know.
cookies.
He went to Chick-fil-A, didn't he?
That's because
No.
you eat them cookies. You know. That's what,
Chip ahoy! Say Chip
Oh,
ahoy!
shame on
so
you, dear.
I know those
Derek.
cookies I
I know
can't
he's
eat.
eating them cookies. That's why he can't talk. But I see. Let me see what the comments say. Not so feral cat says I find it hard to talk making videos because I don't talk to myself. I have problem talking on a CB radio or the phone or in person, but alone in the computer lab or out on a walk, can't. I think that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting because you know when I was kind of thinking about this topic, and it kind of funny enough, it came up on one of Red's room's chats. Thanks, Reds, for the information so I could build this discussion. But it was crazy to me that most people will, if they get into a confrontation, will tell you all kinds of things, right? Yet if they just have to speak normally in a public setting, it's like, oh my God, I can't do it. It's crazy. I don't know what to say or what to do, especially if you have to write a speech. I think one of the toughest things for me when I because I when I was in the military, I did it a lot. You know, based on my rank and position, I had to deal with a lot of troops. And I remember when I retired, when I did my retirement speech, and when it was all done, my brother came up to me, like my blood brother, and he said, "Man, you sound real professional up there." you know, and I was like, okay. But for me, in front of my troops, it was normal. You know, it wasn't like something that I had to stress about. You know what I'm saying?
Shit. Shit.
I mean, when you do a job interview, right? When you do a job interview, you go in front of public. You go in front of people that you don't know.
Well,
Yeah.
I have had to give a few speeches in front of groups. Um,
In
back
theory, mental people don't count.
well, this was actually in
I
front of
might
other.
tease, I might tease you, buddy.
This was actually in front of my peers. Um, though it was in front of branch managers, district managers, division managers. I think even the president of the company was there at one point. Um, I've had to give speeches in front of, or talks in front of other groups where it was peers. I've had to do speeches in a variety of settings. Uh, it's not like I do it every day, but I've had to do it from time to time. Uh,
Hmm.
it's been my experience that typically, you get a little nervous when you're about to do it, but typically, even that will settle down though if you are well prepared and practiced in your speech. Um, I once watched a group at one of these meetings that I had to give a speech at, and I noticed that this happened to be one where there were branch managers, district manager, division manager, and the president of the company was there as well. Uh,
Hmm.
and I started noticing when you were watching the branch managers, virtually all of them were using a lot of filler words and a lot of this. And I started counting the number of filler words that they used.
I know you came up with 29.
No, although that was long before I started, noticing the number.
Okay.
Um, But I did notice that the branch managers were the least experienced of the group, and they were the ones that used the most filler words. As you went up in rank in position, the filler words that they used was less and less until
Mm-hmm.
you got to the president of the company. When he gave a speech, which was a rarity, you didn't see him very often. But when he gave a speech, he used two filler words in the entire speech. So
So
it,
for the people that don't know what you're talking about, what are filler words?
when you go through and you pause and you, for example, when I'm on a live stream, a lot of times I'll say uh uh. You know, some people use the word and for devil dog it tends to be, this is
Or
let's I know he says, you know, this is what I'm saying, or he has his own words that
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall them off the top of my head, having a brain fart, but it it tends to be that the more practiced you are in what you're saying, the less filler words, the less pauses, the less. Of course, some pauses are done for dramatic effect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are struggling or reaching for a word and they're not sure what the next thing to say is.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care. But at this point, it doesn't bother me that when I'm in front of on here in front of 30, 40, 50 people, um, although I don't see that very often, I have seen it on occasion or two. But I guess what it boils down to is if you can control your emotions, because one of the reasons for that is you get nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know the content, you can answer any questions. If you know the material that you're going over, the less pauses, the less filler words, the less mistakes you make in it. It just comes down to trying to eliminate the anxiety that you have when you're giving it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm glad you said that because for me, and I know a lot of people in here are content creators as well. I go back and watch my videos and I notice the things that I say over and over again. So for me, I say all right a lot, which is a Jamaican thing, right? Which I'm trying to get out of saying all the time, because I'd be like, all right, all right, all right, all right. Before it was that's probably the most common one for most people. They say in between their speeches, and it's subconscious. You don't think about it. It's just a natural thing to say. It's I mean it's a habit, right? Because you do it all the time.
Right.
But do you think, and I'm asking all of you this question, you can go in the order. I'll start with Chef Civi. Do you think personality has a lot to do with speaking in public speaking?
No, um, I don't believe that personality has anything to do with the level of public speaking. I think it's, of course, when you think about it, the people that are, I don't know what the word is, um, not really social butterflies, but
Hmm.
people that that lean more onto the dramatic,
Or
they tend
outgoing?
to not really outgoing because I know a lot of outgoing people that have problems with public speaking. Um, I'm one of those that's was considered to be really outgoing, and I have problems with public speaking. Amongst our friends, whole other civvy, whole other level of civvy that you guys might not understand. But uh,
I've seen it.
what you have not?
I've seen it.
Oh, okay. When?
So Jerry, what say you? Is
I
it
say
do
it's
you
a
think
confidence level. If you know what you're talking about and you're confident in what you're talking about, you don't have filler words and you have no problem talking about what you're talking about. But if you're floundering, trying to figure out how to say it or don't know what to say, then I think you'll come up with filler words. To me.
Yeah, but I've got a brain injury, so I
You have
have
an
an
excuse.
You can't count Tim. Tim does not count for that.
oh
You know, for me, I actually feel like it's kind of crazy. I personally feel like personality has a lot to do with it too. I feel like people that are you'd be crazy to know I'm an introvert. Like like I like people, but I don't like to be around people. If you get what I'm saying,
I don't
right?
like to be around groups of people.
I
that's
can't.
Right,
called that's called the antisocial social butterfly.
right. You know, so it's like I love people, but I don't like big crowds. It's
Right.
probably the best way I should
Same
say it.
way. Same here.
You know, I
That's
can't.
I think that's a military thing.
It's a military thing. It's a law enforcement thing. It's like
Yeah.
you're, and I think it comes to it. It actually relates to public speaking. It's like when you're in an environment that you have no control over, that's when you get nervous, right? Just like a big crowd, public speaking could be the same thing. Where if I'm around my friends, it doesn't matter how big the group is. It's my friends, you know. So I can act a fool. I can have fun. I can be myself. But then when I go in front of the bosses or a presentation for another company or whatever job you do, it then you're nervous and everybody's looking at you like, but dude, you was at the party last week jumping off of trailers onto tables, you know? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's not the same person. How can you be nervous? You're like the life of the party, you know? And I feel like the situations dictate how you respond to that public arena, you know?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, but there's a complete difference between you're hanging out when you're hanging out with your friends and you're supposed to be giving a speech out in front of your peers and maybe even your superiors,
Mhm.
those who have a bearing over your success or failure with whatever you're doing. Um, so I don't know. I can't speak from a position other than what I currently have. And I'm not sure if I'm an introvert or an extrovert. I don't mind. I like being at parties, maybe, but there are
Mhm.
times when I like being alone too. Um, I seem to be what you call a link. Uh,
A what?
a link. I'm trying to figure out. I don't want to say whore, but um, I
You're in Idaho.
well, I used to be in Idaho, but that was many many years ago.
Mhm.
Um, I have grown as a person. I have reached the heights that people aspire to. Um, yeah, I have more than 10 subscribers, so I've I'm living the dream. But
Tim
um,
said, Tim said prevert.
no, I'm a postvert. I guess pre is before.
The letters are a little scrambled, but it's some sort of vert.
No, I mean, I don't know how to approach it from. I can try to imagine what it's like being different than what I am, but that doesn't mean that I'm actually going to be able to relate uh, to another way of
Another.
thinking
Mm-hmm.
because I could get everything wrong. I can only speak from experience for myself and who I am. I do have a tendency when I was young, and I guess some of it carries on to where I am. When I was young, I was probably an extrovert. I was always out going and doing and dancing and drinking and womenizing, and you know that was what I did. and I felt like I was pretty good at it. But the when it came later in life, got married, you know, more speaking engagements and that type of thing. Not that that's not my job, but I did teach sales for a while, and you had to get up in front of other people and talk. And I think part of that was just knowing what you were talking about and trying to lead another person to your understanding. And so, um, it might have helped to been in their shoes at one point, but it's completely different when you're dealing with somebody who has no knowledge of what you're dealing with, and it's something else when you're dealing with somebody who has more knowledge than you.
Yeah.
So,
And I was looking at Desert Living. She said I'm a naturally shy person. I think that's why I get nervous when I do my presentations. Although when I'm finished with my presentation, I always get a hey, you did a great job. So it's like you, and it actually goes into what I was gonna ask or talk about next was I think the difference in if you know you have a speech to do, you write the speech, you practice it, you can kind of use your audience, which is your family at that, because your family is your best critic or worst critic, if you want to say it that way, right? So it's like it's good to use your family, your kids, your wife, because they're going to be honest with you, and they're going to give you the best feedback prior to you going out there. So I feel like it's the same thing with content creating, right? Like if you're to me it's like if your family's like that's garbage, you probably shouldn't do it. You probably should like rethink what your concept is going to be for your next content that you're putting out there. you know I don't even know if my kids watch um my content. I'm sure they do, but like Lynn is my biggest uh what's the word I'm looking for,
critic,
critic. Yeah, because she's actually the person behind the camera. you know so I have my concept of what I'm trying to do in my head, but she's the person, even though she has the camera, she's the person from the outside looking in, like, okay, yeah, you probably need to not say that or switch this up, or. So, oh, I got a super chat from DS family. Blessings, DS. Thank you so much, my brother. I appreciate you. You can always come up on the stage, DS. You just paid for the first round of drinks at the bar, so the bar the bar is wide open. You know, um, but yeah, it's interesting that a lot of people, like Desert said, consider themselves shy, but yet they're content creators on YouTube. So how do you manage the difference, right? What is the difference? Is it because you control the environment that you're in, right? When you're making, hi Lisa J, welcome in. Do you Is it because you control the environment that you're in when you're making your content versus just getting up and standing in front of somebody and talking?
Yeah, it's my kitchen. That's where I feel most comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But standing in a huge room with 400 people, that's no fun. Um, I ultimately get over it, but it's of course I had to be medicated in order to do so. But
Why do you always have to be medicated? is it is
um,
is it because of the crowd? Or is it because of Tim? Because I feel like Tim would cause you to be medicated. Right? I
he
love
is,
you, Tim.
there are times when I'm reaching for something, but no, it's just different. I've tried taking off my glasses. I've tried taking a bunch of edibles. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I got anxiety medication. That'll work. And usually it does. But, it just depends on the crowd. It's like, the fitness trainers and their clients, that wasn't a big deal because I was kind of in my element because I was teaching them how to make food and doing like food demos and stuff like that. That's different than standing in front of a group of people
Mm-hmm.
and you tried to write a speech, but then you threw it out because it sounded like garbage like 10 seconds before you got up on stage, so you just kind of wing it, you know? And that's how I ended up getting through it. Was I realized, wait a minute, I can public speak if I don't bring a piece of paper or flashcards and just think of one thing and just start spitting it out, you know? And that seemed to work for me, but trying to go on a script, it's like there's no way.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny you say that. I'm actually giving away well, not really secrets, but because I like to share information. Lynn tells me all the time, it's like, well, you always tell people, but I do like to share information, good information anyway. So one of the things I tried recently, I got DS up on the chat too, so he's not showing his face, but it's all good. Welcome, DS. DS, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can. Yes.
Okay, okay. So what was I saying? I lost my train of thought here. Huh?
I'm sorry, my wife was talking to me. Your wife,
Oh, stop that off. Knock it off, Gary.
the hand.
Tammy's busy on live again.
What is what is going on?
This is Windstone Chronicles. Windstone, he's a law enforcement officer from up in Maryland, I think. He's good people. Like billion people subscribe to his channel.
A billion?
A billion.
Wow.
And
A billion.
so he's very, very well
Now
known.
look how sweet she is.
Yes,
She's gonna make him up there.
yes. And so hundreds of billions of people.
Hundreds of billion. Man, hundreds of billion.
Well,
I,
He's gone by the second.
I
hey,
appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I got DS in the building. Trini, welcome in. So DS, how do you deal with? I lost my train of thought what I was thinking about, but
Hey,
how do
Daddy,
you
that's barbecue.
how do you deal with the pressure of? I mean, you're a content creator as well. How do you deal with um the pressure of public speaking?
To be honest with you, Winston, like, it wasn't never a problem for me, um, so to speak, because of my, I would say my professional or my job that I
Mhm.
do from day to day basis. Basically, as an engineer, um, every single day that I go to work, I have to actually go to a meeting where I have to do a board meeting with my boss and my bigger boss or whatever the case might be, right? So
Mhm.
it wasn't something that I was afraid of. So when I started to do content on YouTube here, it was like natural for me personally. Like, I wasn't afraid of coming out and speak or whatever the case might be because I do it on a daily basis at my job where I was, leading a team, and talking to them every day and all that stuff, right? So it wasn't something that I was afraid of. I was, as some people they do that, but
Mhm.
it's not um something that everybody is really, I would have say the word no
With that.
good at. Yes, good at. Yeah, yeah. But for me personally, like it was just natural. It was natural for me because I would do it on a daily basis. So it was okay. Like for instance, I can speak for my wife. Like she afraid of the camera. She
Mhm.
wouldn't come on. A lot of the content creators that follow me and whatever the case might be, they know that, oh, where's your wife? Like she wouldn't come on the camera and she wouldn't, because she's afraid to speak, on camera. Wishing for me was like natural. It was like instilling me to do that, right? So yeah. So I kind of understand where a lot of us content creator come from, where we can't come on actually YouTube, for instance, and speak, making a video. A lot of people go faceless, they do this, they do that because they're not I would say they camera shy, put it that way, camera shy, yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But I
but
mean,
for me personal, like it was just natural. It's natural in me because I do it every single day, whether on YouTube or off YouTube. I've been doing it ever since, right?
mhm.
I've been in my job for almost 10 years now since I've been at the same job. So yeah, and this is something in a management position, like this something that we have to do. Like as I said, I'm an engineer. Um, I design um basically pretty much every single car that you see now. The only car that I didn't I doesn't um say makes, like I would say actually engineer parts for is Tesla. That's the
Okay.
only car out there on the market right now that I don't really engineer parts for is Tesla. But otherwise, every single car that you see on the road out there, like I have my hands on every single one. So you remember, so we have to speak to a lot of people to make sure that it happened. Right. So it wasn't something for me to really like scared of or whatever the case might be. It was natural. It was instilled in me. Yeah, I understand. So yeah, that's where I'm coming from. Like, and this is a very interesting topic that you had come up with today, Winston. That's why I have to jump on. I have to jump on because I'm saying like, whoa, this is a really good, interesting topic that you had come up with today, man. Yes.
I appreciate it because what I say is what I'm saying is that because there's it's crazy to think that people are content creators that are afraid to speak in front of an audience. I feel like a lot of it has to do when you have control, right? Because when you're building your content, it's yours
Yes.
versus when you're out in public and you have to speak in public. So again, I will ask the question and people in the chat, give me a number. If you have you ever spoken in front of a crowd and how big was that crowd? I would start.
Um,
I would start with Seth. I would start with the lady first because there's only one lady on the panel.
I'm
Even,
just gonna say
even
one thing, Winston, before I don't want to try to cut you off, but I'm gonna say blessing to all of the co-hosts that joined the panel tonight. I'm really, really appreciate you guys for coming on. Like, sorry, my apology. I should have blessed you guys up before I actually start to speak. But blessing to all of you guys. Big up, big up. Bell too, big up yourself, bro. Big up.
Big ups to you too, brother, and blessings to you. Thank you.
Yeah, man, big up.
yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's all about community over here.
I
So
have a
Yeah,
question
definitely.
man,
for you.
yeah, man, yeah.
I have a question
So
for you, Winston.
yeah,
Are you a content creator or are you a vlogger?
I don't think I fall in either one of those categories. I am just a
What category?
person.
What
I am just
category
a.
would you think you fall in?
So
I am.
so can I bond
Hold
into
on.
that?
Hold on. Let me answer the question. Let me answer the
Yeah.
question. So I am just a person that I got into content creating because of my brother. Funny enough, my brother said, "You love to cook. Why don't you share your stuff with other people online?" Right? And being somebody in a job that I work in, Betlu can attest to this. We're very private with our lives and how we operate. Right? We don't want people, you know, being in law enforcement. A lot of people are discontent with law enforcement and all this other stuff. So it took a long time. It even took a long time for me to even put out the information that I am in law enforcement because people will turn away from you because of what you do for a living. And it's we live in a volatile world right now where people don't even trust. But that's a whole different topic. But I don't consider myself a content creator because I do this because I enjoy it, you know. And I've always said like once I don't enjoy it anymore, I'll just stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So YouTube doesn't pay me to do this. Like, yeah, I get paid as a creator based on the videos and whatever little amount they send me based on the views and all that other stuff. But I enjoy this because of the reach, right? The people I get to meet, you know. I mean, I met you guys. I mean, I've met so many people, and I realized it was more about building a community than was more about doing YouTube. It's kind of funny. I was talking to Lynn about it today, and we were talking about just like, a lot of people do memberships, nothing against that, all that other stuff. And when I started YouTube, I always said that I did not want to work for YouTube. I wanted to be in a situation where when I was, if I didn't feel like putting out no content this week or next week, or because I found myself getting into a role where I was trying to make content just to put out content. And then I was like, I had to reel back myself, and I was like, you know what? That's not what I came on here for. I came on here because I like to cook. I like to share my cooking, and I'm not gonna just go cook every day. That's why people ask me all the time. It's like, how much food do you cook? I say, I only cook once a week. I cook once a
Okay.
week, right?
Well,
So YouTube kind of forces you into being kind of working for them, where you're making content just because it's what drives the algorithm, or it's what, like, I could care less. I'm just about just doing what I like, and when I'm done, I'm done. If I don't like it anymore, or if I don't feel like putting out no content this week, I'm not under that thumb of YouTube where
well, my
you
my
know.
wife and I had the conversation the other day about are we creators, are we influencer, or are we just vloggers?
We're
And
a little
I
bit about all.
I told her, I said, I don't influence anybody. I'm not an influencer. I never try to be an influencer. I don't want to influence anybody. People do what you want to do. Don't take
Mm-hmm.
my word for it. If you ask me my opinion about things, I'll tell you my opinion, but I don't want to try to influence anybody. So we're not influencers and we don't create content. Our content is just whatever happens around here. So
Right.
we don't go out and create it. So
Right.
we consider ourselves as YouTube vloggers. We just video record what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
I asked that question because I wanted to ask that. I think that's a good topic because a lot of people that are they try to influence or they try to create something.
mm-hmm.
Well, that brings up an interesting question that I would ask, Winstone, or I guess everybody on here. At some point, do you begin to feel a responsibility, not necessarily to YouTube, but those individuals that come and support your channel? Because I feel there's when it's just me coming on here and having fun, that's one thing. It's another thing when you begin to feel the weight of responsibility to the people that come and support your
That
channel.
supports your channel. Yeah.
I think you're 100% right on that, Bell Loop, when you just made that statement here a while ago, right? Um, Personally, myself, as a content creator, as an influencer, as a vlogger, you know, as they will call me, the professor, whatever they want to call me out there, I feel that it's something that um, I obligated to do every single Saturday because people do um, wait for my life to get whatever information that I have to give to them out there, right? And then they can reflect off that information and move forward. So yes, it is. It is. It can be very. I would I say I don't know the word to put at it, but your audience out there waiting for you to actually come out every single day and tell them, okay, this and this you should do, or you shouldn't do that, or whatever the case might be, right? And I feel obligated, like even today, I'm supposed to go live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Canadian time, right? And I couldn't because my three boys actually got sick, right? And I feel in myself, my family come first, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, whoa, my audience, like, I let them down. Um, I let them down. They should have been here. Like I should have been alive and I should have been actually talking to them or whatever the case might be. But at the end of the day, my family come first because, as I said, my older boy came from school, he got sick, and then give it to my toddler and my little baby, right? So yeah, so it's just one of those things where my family come first. But yeah, so you know, you feel guilty and you feel obligated, right? Yes, you do. At times as a content creator, influencer, and all of the above, like you do feel guilty. You do.
Yeah, and I can attest to this because it's that you do get part of that where you feel obligated. Like, I've been working on my video for because I'm obligated to provide a video for this week. But I think
Yeah,
that the most important part, and YouTube gives you the option of it, is communication, right?
yeah,
Like, last weekend I had to work. So you have a community page. You can go on your community page and let your subscribers know, hey, I got this going on, fam, because life happens, right? And you have to communication is a big thing. So if you can get out there and say, hey, community page, and YouTube tells you use your community as part of your engagement, right? And let your audience know, hey, I got this going on, I got that going on. I can't be here. Tiki Bar is not going to be up this weekend. And I feel like if you do that, then people will support you even more because you're giving them a heads up, like, hey, you know what? And that's part of speaking, public speaking, is communication. Is saying, hey, look, this is what's going on. I can't make it this week. Or sometimes I might be gone for 3 weeks. That's based on my job. So I'm gonna let people, my audience know, hey, I'm not gonna be here for the next 3 weeks. I might be I might still, for my subscribers or for my content creators that I subscribe to, I might be able to kind of watch their channels, but it just lets them know, hey, I might not leave a a comment on your channel. Doesn't mean I'm not watching your channel. You know what I'm saying? So it goes both ways. My audience is like, okay, well, when's your next Tiki Bar? All right, it's gonna be 2 weeks from now. So they look forward to it two weeks from now. And if it changes, then I go back in and I send them a message. Hey, it's not gonna happen. It's disappointing to the audience, of course, but at the same time, the communication is there so that at least they know, okay, it is what it is at that time.
yeah. For
So
real,
it's
for real, for real, Winston. I think you're right. A few weeks back, I did make a post on my community page and let the audience know exactly what's were going on. But I think this time around, I didn't put up a community post and let them know. Um, Based on what's going on, I got a lot. What I mean by a lot, of phone call, because on the YT street now, there's a lot of channel being demonetized or whatever the case might be. And, people are saying to me, yes, you've been saying this for a long time or whatever the case might be. And I said, yes, I know. You gotta come live, you gotta come live. But I said, I can't, like my family come first. That's like personal call, not really to put that on white here or whatever the case might be, right? But I said no, like for right now, I'm just gonna take the time out. I know I should, but the timing is not right. Eventually I would probably come out and say something about it. Um, you know, and what you're saying, Vincent, it is right because I seen your community post that you had made. That you were not gonna have the tiki bar or whatever the case might be. And I think that's the right way to go about it, you know.
mhm.
But it's depends on the timing and all that stuff, right? Where you can, make that post or whatever the case might be, right? But yes, I think that's the right and proper way because YouTube have give us that feature that we can communicate with our audience and let them know. Because it like there's people out there that will follow you for the information, and sometimes if they doesn't see you give them that update or whatever the case might be, they would think that they would tend to stray, put it that way, and go elsewhere. And I seen it all on YouTube. So yes, so it is good to give them that information, let them know you're not gonna give them 110% of what's really going on, but you just give them a little bit of heads up. You're not gonna be on this week because of that.
Right.
Um, for a few
So
weeks now, I've been lagging myself, but at the end of the day, is as I said, you know, um, my family is everything to me. I have three boys. I got a toddler, and I have a little baby there. You know, I wouldn't say that he's sickly, but yeah. So, I have to, take that time out and spend that time with the family and help the wife out with the kids and whatever the case might be. So, YouTube is not my life, but at the end of the day is I come on YouTube because I love making videos, you know, everybody come for a different purpose. I think one of your co-hosts were saying earlier on, we're asking you if you're a content creator or
a vlogger.
you are a vlogger, right? And I would say in my personal opinion towards that, I think that you are actually a content creator because Winston, I know you for a while now, ever since you've been on YouTube. I've been around longer than most of you guys, but I think that Winston, I asked Winston this question a while back, and the same thing that he had said. No, he said it to me a while back. Where he's on here because he love to cook, he love to, understand what I'm saying. Like he's there. It's not, but in my personal opinion towards this, I think Winston, you are a content creator. Once you take up that camera and you start to record whatever you're doing, whatever you love doing, and put it out there to the world, I think you're a content creator. That's
Yeah,
in my
yeah. I
personal
mean,
opinion.
yeah,
You know?
and I mean, a lot of people don't like labels. I'm one of those people that don't like
Yes.
labels. You know, some people call it influencers. Like,
No.
Bell Loop said he's not an influencer,
In
but
influencer,
in what I'm saying
influencer
is
is
like,
different.
well,
Influencer in
it's not different. Everybody's an influencer because people take your message, whatever message that you're putting out there. So you're
yeah, but
influencing
but but
you're
but but
influencing.
but
This is what I'm saying. You're influencing something, right?
yes,
So you might not consider yourself an influencer, but the things you say and do might influence somebody's actions. You know
yes,
what I'm saying?
yes.
So at the
But
end of the day, you might not consider yourself an influencer or a vlogger or a content creator, while other people might consider that. But that being said, I wanted to ask this question, and I'm going to start with Civi as well. Going back to the topic. So, how do you develop confidence? Because one of the things when I was doing research in this topic, I was looking at what builds confidence, and part of part of building confidence is repetitions, right? Doing doing what you do continuously. So besides doing the reps,
Well,
what else builds confidence? I'm gonna start with you, Chef Sibi.
repetition doesn't necessarily build confidence. What builds confidence is immersing yourself in the situations as much as humanly possible and realizing that it does get better, and um, just trying to keep yourself focused and grounded. Don't put yourself in situations where you don't know the content, and that way you're not sitting there. I don't know. You can see when a great example. Okay, so
Mhm.
I'm sorry, my brain is a little scattered today. Um, Friend of mine, or a friend of ours, Timmy and I, um, has a channel, and had he had done a lot of live streams, and one of
Mhm.
his things was having guest chefs come onto his food boat to do demonstrations. And the chef, I'm not gonna name names. He's a great kid, knows his stuff, but on one particular day he had to fillet a fish that he was not accustomed to, and you could see his confidence just falling into the
Mm-hmm.
toilet
Mm-hmm.
second by second. And putting yourself in situations where you don't know the content can actually destroy your confidence more, because there's going to always be somebody that's going to say, no, you're not right. That's not right.
Mm-hmm.
That's not right. And they're going to just start throwing all these things at you and ask you questions, and you're going to look, based on your body language and stuff, you're going to look like an idiot up there. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what destroys people. So stay in your lane is my best advice
Advice.
for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because if you wouldn't want me to tell you how to change the oil in a car, that's for sure. Unless you really want comedy, it's like that's another story entirely. And then, find a way to connect with the people so that you're not so much strangers to them.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I do is I bring out jokes and I make things fun and funny. And once when I get everybody to laugh and loosen up a little bit, then I'm watching their body
Your
language
reaction. Yep.
and
Yep.
and their reactions, and then they start to loosen up, and then I can start to loosen up, and then everybody's having a grand old time. And it doesn't matter if you make a mistake, because somebody's going to say, "Oh yeah, that was a great
As yeah.
talk."
They don't
You
remember they
know,
don't remember their mistakes. Yeah, because they had a
right?
good time.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
because they're just looking at the funny aspect to it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I even because every couple weeks I have to sit through a meeting with all of the residents. It's resident council, and there's two parts of it. There's one that's food for thought, and the other one, I don't even know why I even have to be there to begin with, because it has nothing to do with, very little to do with me, but we ultimately end up talking about food all over again. So it's like, but one of the things that I do with them is, I crack jokes. I say, okay, so let me hear your worst. Come on. Who's going to be first to tell me that I am absolute garbage today? you know and they all start laughing, and somebody raises their hand. I go, oh, okay, you're the one that's guilty. All right. And we make a joke out of it, and everybody just loves it. Everybody loves my personality and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and the energy that I bring to the space. But there's just times when, oh my god, 400 people, I really have to talk in front of 400 people? Why do you want to do this to me? And that happens. And sometimes I can pull my head out of my tuchus. Sometimes I can't. It just is what it is.
But it's interesting because humor does help with um an audience, especially an audience that you're unfamiliar with, which is
Yes.
what we do every day on YouTube, right? We're talking to an unfamiliar audience that we want to come to our channel and watch whatever content we're putting out there, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But
that's a good part of it, like you said about the humor. And we talked about personality earlier, right? Your personality dictates, I always tell people all the time in my job, your personality dictates how well or how badly you do this job, you know?
right, right.
So,
And then on top of all of it, it creates the illusion that you're confident
right. Well, I
until you
mean,
can actually feel that.
yeah, yeah.
Which sometimes, that's what it takes. It takes time to build that up. I mean, nobody likes to go into a speech and then look out at the crowd and see all these people that really don't want to be there. They would rather be at home, curled up on
Mm-hmm.
their sofa watching Twilight or something. Um, so how do you get through to them? You just find something funny, find something that they can relate to, a story, something that happened recently that kind of flows with the direction of this whole conference, for example.
Find something they can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. Sorry, I'm scatterbrained today. It's like minority women in business.
You've been
It's like,
hanging
okay,
around
so
Gary too much.
yeah, that
That'll
I'm
do it.
tired too. But no, it was minority women in business, and the only thing that I could really talk about was my experience being a young person in the culinary industry and back in the early 80s and explaining to them how the Food Network has brought female chefs to the
To the
forefront.
forefront. Mm-hmm.
And so I use that as my story. So pick a story. It could be a memory of yours or something like that. Something that you know that forget about the flashcards and the speeches and stuff like that. Just get up there and just do your worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Literally,
he's
do your
right.
worst.
And
It
I'm
No,
just
he's
glad.
right.
I'm actually glad you said that because it actually brought me back to my thought process that I lost about 30 minutes ago when I was trying to think about it. So I will tell you this. I tried because I'm so passionate about the things that I do, especially cooking or anything that I do it 100%. There's no such thing over 100% anyway. For people that say 110%, there's no such thing. It's 100%. All right. And one of the things I started doing was I looked at a lot of bigger content creators and how they do their stuff and I bought the equipment. I got a teleprompter, I got all this other stuff. And I tried it. I tried it. Because one of the things I wanted to do was, when you're speaking, when you're public speaking, you want to be able to make the audience believe that you're in tune with them, right? You're looking at them, you're acknowledging them. It's communication 101, right? So I got a teleprompter, but it didn't feel natural to me, right? So I mean, I went on, Chat GPT, I got the script, I got all this stuff, and I'm just like, I'm trying to read it out, and it just didn't feel natural to me. So yeah, I still use the stuff to help me with my content, but as far as public speaking, I think I have a natural ability to relate to people, and I would rather use that because you can kind of I could me personally I could tell it felt scripted to me. So I'm like, if it feels scripted to me, what does my audience think, right? So and if they're used to your personality, like you said, Civi, like if anyone in here has ever been on your live, they know exactly who you are. If you started doing a scripted version of what you do, like people could pick that out. You know what I'm saying? People would see it like, okay, what's wrong? What's wrong with Civi? That don't sound like, is Tim telling her what to say? It's like, so I'm glad you said that because it kind of brought me back to that thought process of that part of public speaking where you're you're getting into scripts and it's based on the audience, of course, right? Because different
right.
audiences require different speeches and different communications between you and that audience. So no, I appreciate that. So I'm gonna move on to Jerry because Jerry's next, and then we're gonna go to Belt Loop and we'll go to DS.
I
So
forgot the
Jerry.
question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's my fault.
I remember the question. I think
What was the question again about
uh,
confidence?
Yeah,
confidence.
building
I,
your confidence.
I don't try to build my confidence. I guess Susan tell you that I'm always right. She always says I'm always right. When I'm wrong, she marks it on the calendar. But I don't build my confidence. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't talk about it. I don't open my mouth if I don't know what I'm talking about. There's an old saying, and I've said this a couple times lately. You know, if people might look at you and think you're a fool, so don't open your mouth and prove it.
100%.
So I mean, if I know what I'm talking about, I'll talk about it. But there's a lot of people on here that talk about stuff they have no clue. They're way out in left field, and I sit there and shake my head like, where are you going, and what are you thinking about? But I don't,
Hmm.
I don't argue with people
Thing like
because
that.
it's not worth it. What?
So why you want to keep talking about me like that?
Well, that's true.
But you know what I say to that, Jerry, and I'm glad you brought that point up too. is that if you're going to come on, and I know DS is probably going to talk about this, but if you're going to come on a public platform and say something, I feel like you should do your research first,
That's right.
you know, because somebody's going to call you out on it. You know what I'm saying? And I am a proponent of not putting out bad information, right? And
Well,
if I feel like if I feel like I put out some information, whether it could be just about cooking and the ingredients weren't correct, I will go back and one, I did my research before, and two, if I did make a mistake, I would come back and say, you know what, that wasn't correct. Here's the correct way. And I feel like it builds trust with your audience that you're willing to admit that, okay, I don't know
when you're
everything.
wrong.
You're
Well,
right.
Gary and I do that two dudes for clues, and we say this is our opinion. We don't say this is a law. This is how it is. It is our opinion of how
Hmm.
things work. That way, people that don't like that don't think that don't agree with it, they can don't agree with it. That's in our opinion. This is how things work. And
Yep.
that a lot of people won't say that. They'll say, "Oh, this is how it is. This is how it is." Well, they're way out in left field. They don't, I don't watch those people. When I find out people say things that they don't know, do the squat about, and they don't correct themselves, I just stop watching them.
Hmm.
I'm not into people who are full of themselves. It's one thing if you know what you're talking about. It's another thing if you're trying to bluff your way through it all. And if you try to bluff your way through it, people can see it.
You're right through it. Yep.
Gary, your
100%.
turn.
So let's go, Gary.
I'm
You got the
teasing,
floor.
bud.
Hey, I do tend to. Well, I talk a lot anyhow. But I do a lot of self reflection. I don't know if it's so much about the content as it is about my own motivation, my own thoughts, my own. I feel like I can be sincere about whatever I'm talking about,
Mhm.
even though, granted, sometimes I guess I do run off into left field. Um, I think you have to be confident enough in yourself if you do your own self reflection, and if you do question yourself about what you're doing,
Mhm.
uh, to be confident to represent things as your opinion. Um, I don't think that you should blow up when someone questions your worldview or your question, what you're talking about. Sometimes it's best to say, well, either if you don't know, say I don't know. Just admit it right off the bat and say, well, I'll
Right.
look into that. But it's my understanding this. And I guess it helps if you don't care truthfully, what other people think.
Mhm.
Um, the, I mean,
Keep
I guess,
talking. Keep talking. I'll be right back. Go ahead. Keep talking.
all right. And welcome to the Beltlet 29 YouTube channel show. We, I guess the main thing is, you have to be confident enough to yourself to where, I guess when the trolls comes calling, and they do call from time to time, you got to be confident enough to say, well, I appreciate, that's how you feel, but that's not how I feel. If you don't like it, don't let the doorknob hit you where the good Lord split you. Uh, Send them on about their way. I mean, they're welcome to stick around if they want, but it's not going to be, I'll put up with a little bit of trolling, but
But hey, Tim, I'm the one that dazzles them, and Gary's the one that baffles them.
I'm the one that makes stickers about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got my sticker.
Yeah, you're on the leaderboard
I'm,
now.
I'm only joking, Gary. I'm only messing with you, right?
oh, it's all good. It's all
Okay.
good. You ain't hurt my feelings.
Good.
Hey, the fact is, you got to have a little bit of a thick skin, but when it comes to confidence, just know yourself, know the content that you're talking about, at least why you believe what you believe, um, and the information or the studies that support that.
Mhm.
So you do that, and you can speak fairly confident on most everything. And I don't mind leaving them a little baffled. That's all right. Let Jerry dazzle them, Gary will baffle them. It's all good.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I just wanted to read this comment about from Desert Living. She said, teleprompter is a good thing. So if you have a lot of information to tell, it helps you stay on track. Make sure you get all your talking points out. And she says she uses a teleprompter recording AI. So the one good thing I did before I go over to DS, the one good thing I did like about the teleprompter, it does keep you on track. And what I did like about it was, like I said, I go back and I review my videos, and it keeps you focused on the camera. One of the hardest things about content creating is staying focused on the camera, you know. And I'll flip it like this. I remember when it took Lynn a little while to get into like videotaping for me. And I would explain to her, like, I know what my vision is of what I want the video to look like, but I would tell her to look through the lens of the camera and not look over the camera, right?
Yeah, Susan does that a lot.
Right? Look
Over
over
the
the camera.
camera. And next thing you know, you're looking at her and going, "What are you recording the ground
What do
for?"
you
I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah. Right? So it's like looking through the lens of the camera and thinking about if you are, so if you have someone that's videotaping for you, that's very important because they have to have share the same vision that you do, basically, where they're seeing it through the lens of a viewer, right? And what would they want to see? And I feel like if you have someone that videotapes for you, it's great to have, or you and them on the same page where you have that vision that, okay, if I was the viewer, what would I want to see from this content? You know, so I appreciate that. There's a living. Thanks for that comment. And I'm gonna move on to Mr. DS. DS, you still in the building?
Yeah, man, I'm still here, man. Still here, you know.
All right. So the question is now yours. You know, what do you recommend for people to build their confidence in, as you say, these YouTube streets? How do you build confidence in public speaking and, you know, staying in touch with your audience?
Well, you know what, Winston, you know, and the viewers out there, I'll put my wife as an example, Sue. You know, as what Jerry would say, right? um, you know, my wife actually, she's actually a pastry chef. Um, you know, when she were back home in
So why
Jamaica.
why are why are we watching you? We could be watching her. What's
Then,
up?
then
Yeah, can
this
we
is the
get some?
point that I'm gonna get to that point right now,
Can
Winston.
we get
I'm
some?
gonna.
Can we get some pastry
Yes.
chefing going
So
on
so
on your
so
channel?
yeah. So so what happened is she was a pastry chef at Sanders Resort in Ocho Rios for many years before I actually met her. Like she were doing that, right? She went to, I would say, culinary school or whatever the case might be, right? And you know, when she actually came to Canada and all that stuff. And, you know, I said, you know what, I'm doing YouTube or whatever the case might be. And I'm thinking, okay, this will be a good thing for us because I like to cook, you like to bake, you know, I like to fish, you know, this could be a good family channel and all that stuff, right? But yet to know and to find out that she's actually camera shy. Like, you know, I was that bold one out there. Like, I don't really care. Like, I'm out there. Like, I just push it to the world, right? But she was actually camera shy, you know, and it get her a while. Like it take me a good probably about a year before I actually get her into actually come even on my live stream and all that stuff to actually show her face and talk and all that stuff, right? So
Oh,
I
same thing
kind of,
for me and Lynn. Same thing for me
yes.
and
So
Lynn.
I, you know,
Yep.
it take a little bit of work progress, but it, you know, um it can happen. And you know, even today, believe it or not, um we're not into the cooking and the pastry thing anymore like that, right? But like even to get her on the camera, like to, you know, I will behind the camera while she's doing her thing, and she won't budge. Like she's still that, you know, camera shy. It's not like she don't know what she's doing, but it's like to speak publicly or speak on the camera, like she's not
That
that
person.
type of person. She's not like me,
Mhm.
right? You know. So yeah, it does take time. It take a lot of confidence to get out there and actually do it. So that's why I take my hat off to all of the content creators out there that can go there and speak on the camera, speak publicly and all that stuff. It take a lot, because I've been actually training my wife and pushing my wife to actually do this, because I think it would be a great thing. Actually, our wedding, um, cake that we had our wedding, she actually one that did it, right, and it was so beautiful. And I think she could have shared that to the world. No, we're
Mhm.
on YouTube, but it's like she doesn't have that. I wouldn't say she doesn't have that confidence, but she's not that type of person that will come out on camera and actually do that type of stuff, right? But
Mhm.
she is, before I kind of changed my channel description, that was a part of our channel description, where we would, fish and, cook, bake and travel and all that stuff, and our lifestyle, journey, right? And but that didn't happen because of her, because of the way how she fell in front of the camera, right? And that's really understandable, because not everybody have that personality to do that.
Mhm.
A friend of mine said to me one time that, tell her to pretend or to picture the people in front of her naked. you
Yeah,
know
look, I was going to say that before, but that probably even make me even more nervous.
That's what a friend of mine told me to say to her, right? But yeah, but it's, as I said, it's not everybody was made out for this, like, and I do understand. I 100% do understand about that. Like, it's not everybody was meant for YouTube. Some people were meant for it. Some people, it's sad to say, but they're not, right? um to come out and speak. That's why you find, like, no, there's a lot of faceless channel out there where people doesn't want to show their face, doesn't want to talk, or whatever the case might be. Even if they talk, then they're behind the camera, right? And you don't see their face, because they doesn't have that, um would I say, insecurity in them to come out and do that, right? Which that's understandable. As I said from before, it's not everybody is like that, you know. But for me personally, I am not afraid. For who follow me and whatever the case might be, that I am a very bold guy. I come out and I say what it is. I never scared of it, because I've been doing this for 30 years before I even come on YouTube, where I have to do this every single day at my personal job, right? So it is what it is.
Well, and the funny part that you just said that kind of resonates with me is YouTube is meant for everybody, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people be like, "Oh, it's not meant for you," but I mean, there are channels out here that amazes me, that are big channels. I mean, there's a channel out here. This lady, all she does is do scratch off tickets, right?
Yes.
Literally, you've never seen her face,
Never.
but she goes around the country and buys scratch off. I'm sure she's probably winning some money too, because I wouldn't be scratching off tickets if I wasn't winning some kind of money to keep buying tickets. But the thing is, you know, at the end of the day, it's for everybody, right? I think most people that come on YouTube come on here because there's something that they feel like they want to share with somebody. Whether it's one viewer or a million viewers, I feel like everyone has a something out there that, I mean, we live in the world of social media anyway,
That
right?
is true. Yes.
10, 20 years ago, most people would not put out some of the stuff I see, most people would not put out in the public
No.
on in any platform, right? But YouTube and TikTok and all the other channels that are out there have given people an opportunity to kind of showcase what their life lifestyles are, right? And part of it is, I think, because you're behind, kind of, I would call it a screen, right? You're behind a screen, right? So for the most part, the people that we talk to on here are people that we are is what they put out, right? And we don't really know the people that we're everybody that's on this panel right now, aside from the people that have actually met each other, we really don't know each other, but we trust in the fact that the information that we're putting out there, which somebody said earlier,
Yes.
is legit. And you never know. You never know. People might just do it just because it's what gets the views, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, but when when it comes to building your confidence in doing this, the feedback is important, right? Because your community is what gives you the feedback, and you're gonna when you're trying to find, as they say, your niche. When you're trying to find your niche, you're gonna go with what people like the most about you. You know, um, I know for me, and I've probably said it a couple of times on some of one of my lives or two, where my channel is about everything. I do DIY projects, which is stuff I like to do. And it got to a point where people were like, "Yeah, it's great that you built that rocket that took you to Mars, but where's the food at?" You know. So I had to learn. I had to learn. So
The food is your niche, Winston.
well,
The food is
well,
your niche.
but the thing is, there are people out there that are on doing content creating that will probably get, we talk about thick skin, but we'll probably get, in the kindest way I can say it, butt hurt, right? That someone discounted something that they were that passionate about. So then they got to switch to something that they're not as passionate about, but they realize that, okay, this is, if that's the reason why they're doing it, then they're going to switch their niche over to whatever it is to say, okay, my audience loves this about me, so I'm going to stick to that, even though they might have something else that they probably have that they're more, in
So,
tune to,
so you'd
so
be considered more of
Yeah,
a
it's
creator then.
say again, Jerry.
You'd be more considered a creator because I don't consider myself having any niche. I do everything and anything, and
Me too,
I
I
put up
still
there.
do.
And I don't care if everybody has, no, I've never had anybody say, well, where's this? Where's that? My comments are not, oh, that nice video and that type of stuff. But I've never had anybody say, hey, where's this thing you did? Or where's that you did? I show
Hmm.
everything. I show cooking to the animals, to everything, so I've even shown some of my bowling I've done.
Right.
So I don't consider myself having a niche.
And that's
I
important.
think Jerry um is right until eventually he will find his niche eventually, in a sense where he would say, you know what, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, but eventually, like, the audience kind of like this, what I'm doing, even the cooking or whatever the case might be, right? That's fine.
Yes,
um
But
I have almost 1,900 videos. I would think if I was going to have a niche, I would have found it by now. So I don't consider myself ever having a niche.
By the way,
and and you know what? I agree with Jerry on that, because at the end of the day, the people that watch your channel like what you put out regardless of what it is. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that is your niche. Your niche is, if the people that you're happy seeing on your channel and leaving the comments on your channel because you're catering to what you started out with, and like I said, I still do my fishing, I still do my traveling, I still do my DIY stuff, because I'm not gonna I am on here because I want to put out things that I'm passionate about, right? So yes, I am probably most passionate about my cooking, right? So it wasn't hard to swing harder to that side, you know, no pun intended, you know, because I am most passionate about my cooking, right? I would
yeah,
say second to my cooking is my DIY stuff, because I like to build stuff. I like to use my hands, right? But it's not gonna stop me from doing, like Jerry said, I'm not gonna stop doing all those other things just because everybody loves the cooking part of my
I I I
channel.
I know. I think you're right, Winston, when you come down to that, because I heard Jerry and Bell Loop say something earlier on um where we're looking at what we do best, right? In a sense, where the information that we put out there, right, and you know if it's accurate or whatever the case might be for people to actually gravitate or whatever it is to the audience out there, right? And I just gonna relate on that topic that they had mentioned, right? Where yes, um I do my daily life or my weekly life, I would say weekly life every Saturday, right? And whatever information that I put out there every single Saturday that I go live at 2 p.m., that it is 110% accurate, right? And the reason being why I say this because I seen whatever I put out there, I seen that a lot of the content creators them out there that follow me, um, it's not like they're not taking notes, but I seen stuff keep happening over and over and over again, in the same loop, wishing I wouldn't say that they make a mistake or whatever the case might be, that's on them, not
Hmm.
on me, because I give them that information every Saturday, and it's up to a person to take that information in and gravitate to it and then learn from it, right? But I do not do this because of views or whatever the case may be. I do this because
You
of
you get you getting some feedback on your channel there. Is that you?
um yeah. So I do not do this because of views or whatever I do this because of the whatever I wanna share out there to the actually public or to
Hmm.
my followers or whatever the case might be. It's 110% accurate. 110% accurate whatever I do. So yes, it is good for the content creators out here. Whatever I say to them, I'm not saying this for them to gravitate to me or whatever the case might be, but it is I do my research.
Hmm.
Um and when I put it out there, it's to help my fellow content creators because nobody is above each other, no matter what you are. I look at everybody the same. I look at everybody equally. You understand? You know, that we can learn from each other, no matter what the circumstances are, we can learn from each other. And every single day we're out there, we're learning from each other and we can grow from that. So yeah. So if we are out here in this community here and we said to ourselves, like, you know what, I'm gonna come on live, but no, I don't wanna come on live. I'm gonna because I'm shy, I wanna go do a silent live or whatever the case might be, or do something to catch the viewers them, but I am not gonna come and talk like a Winston is coming out and bringing out hosts and the panel and all that stuff and talk and speak out, right? That's to me like they are afraid of the truth. They are afraid of the reality. They are afraid of whatever is going on here on the YT street. That's my personal opinion towards it, right? You know?
Okay. No, I appreciate that. So my last question for tonight is I want to ask each of you before we shut this down because we got about 50. I'll try to keep this below 2 hours. I've gotten good at it. It used to be 4 hours. It used to be crazy. So I learned over time, like, okay, yeah, that's a long time to be on the live.
Yeah, somebody
So
said that to me too, Winston. They said that to
yeah,
me.
that
Yes,
it's too
you
much
shared a
time.
lot of information, but your live were too long. That's what somebody
Yeah,
said to me the other day.
it's too long. So
Yeah.
for each of you, I'm start with Chef CV again. Um, when it comes to public speaking, what advice would you give not just to um, content creators, but to just anyone in general, your kids, anyone that, because at some point we're all gonna have to do some kind of public speaking, whether you like it or not. You
Yeah,
know,
no kidding.
it might be unscripted, out of your comfort zone, and you just have to stand up and say something. You know, because everything is public speaking. It might be somebody that's just doing the wrong thing. And granted, the world we live in these days, there's a lot of people that don't really stand up and for what's right and say something, right? They always say, see something, say something, right? Belt Loop knows very well about that. Um, what advice would you give to people out there about, you know, how to better be a good public speaker? I'm gonna leave it like there.
Okay, how to be a better public speaker? Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that I'm a good public speaker. People seem to gravitate to my channel for some strange reason, but okay,
It's
whatever.
it's the
Um,
banana.
it's the banana. Yeah, it's all about the banana. They don't care about me. If I just left the banana there, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's funny, haha." You know.
I'm listening. Go ahead,
Give
Sigmund.
out your
No.
pickles.
Peckles. Uh, the biggest piece of advice that I could give to anybody that is wanting to develop their skills in public speaking is watch some of the channels that inspire you and see how it is that they connect with you. And then try to find your own voice from there. Don't try to mimic anybody else and their style because then, you're basically going to be a fraud and people will see that. Um, find your voice and get your message out. If you are just not feeling it, then on that day, don't do it that day. But say, try it again tomorrow. But when it comes to like public speaking in terms of people in a room, the best thing you can do is don't rehearse anything. Just speak your mind as the thoughts come. That way it seems, and I know Jerry hates this word, it seems more organic that way. Um, just speak your mind, whatever comes to mind, instead of trying to go off of notes, teleprompters, yada yada yada. Because people like to see spontaneity, and you know, if all else fails, if the room seems really stiff, throw some jokes in there. And I'm not talking dad jokes that you read out of the back of a Reader's Digest. Just tell them a funny story that relates to the topic at hand and go from there. But don't rehearse it because then you're going to sound almost robotic when you get up there.
Yeah, I think you're right, Chef Levy. I think you're right. Um, you know, you hit the nail right on the head when you say that a while ago, right? Because my older son, is gonna be going to high school in September, right? And he said, Dad, at my graduation, I gotta go up and I gotta make a speech or whatever the case might be. And exact word I say to him, just be yourself. You understand? Just be yourself, and whatever come to you, you spill it out there, right? Just be yourself, because I cannot coach you and tell you what to say, because if I tell you what to say, that is not exactly what in you, right? Is what I tell you to say, you're gonna say. It's just like a teleprompter with in front of you and you're reading from it, but that's not really yourself. It's just like you're a news broadcaster that reading from a teleprompter in front of you, like you're reading the news or the weather, or whatever the case might be, right? You gotta be yourself. And I think that's what actually make me so authentic on my live stream when I actually do my tutorial and my live stream teaching people or telling people what's going on in the white issue, because I speak from my mind. Whatever I study, then I come out on my live on Saturday and I speak my mind and I speak whatever I learn and tell the people I'm out there. And I think that's kind of a unique way of a person. So I think you're 100% right, Chef Louis, when you actually, say this. Is like hit the nail right on the head. That, yeah, you just gotta be yourself. Gotta be yourself and do what you have to do, right? You know?
But
Right.
so that's your advice, is to be yourself.
You have
Yes.
to be yourself.
Always be yourself.
You cannot be somebody else. You cannot be somebody as I said, like whatever you remember in a Winston, I go there and I do my research every single week, taking time away from my family and that's from my family, come out here and send it out to YouTube or the world or whatever the case may, whatever I study or whatever I learn, right? But I do not have nothing in front of me. I've been on YouTube almost 4 years now, and I have the same cell phone that I've been using for 4 years up until today. I don't have a teleprompt. I don't have nothing. Whatever I learn is in my brain, it's in my mind, and I come out every single Saturday if I can, and I spill it out to the world. You understand? And it's just natural. It's just natural. So you have to be yourself. Some people gonna like you, some people not gonna like it because they think that, oh, you're hitting on them, you're talking about them or whatever. But it's the truth. That's the way how it works, bro. You have to just be yourself and spill it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
It's
right,
it's
Jer.
like the mystery wheel of misfortune is a great example of this.
Yeah.
Do you think that the mystery wheel of misfortune is researched and scripted and all sorts of
No,
other stuff?
no, it's natural.
It's not. It's like we spin the wheel, we get all the ingredients. I forget about it for a week until I have to go to the grocery store and buy the ingredients, and then come home, get on camera. I don't know what the hell to do. Okay, how about
Hmm.
this? How about if we do this? I don't think about it. I don't think about it. I even have to send Timmy a text message. Hey Timmy, I forgot. What do I have to actually shop for? And I'm already at the grocery store
Right.
because I don't even think about it. It's like we spin the wheel and I don't think about it for the rest of the week. I'm not going to stress out over it. I'm just going to let it go however way it's going to go. I don't even know how it's going to go.
Right. No, that's
Yeah.
good. Jerry, what
I
you
just
got
say,
for
suck
the
it up,
people?
Buttercup. Suck it up, Buttercup, and do it.
Keep it simple.
Yep.
In a nutshell, suck it up, buttercup, and just do it. And that's important. That's important. I feel like everyone gets distracted with, everyone has a what's the word I'm looking for? A criticism, right? Everybody has a criticism on how you're doing your content, and people tell me all the time, "Hey, you." I'm an optimist. So I always look at criticism as constructive, right? Regardless of how people put it together. And sometimes because people are sitting behind a computer and saying, "Hey, maybe you should do this or say this," I take it to heart, and I will put that in my toolbox, as they say in the military. It's just what is that? Is that a bananas behind belt loop? What is going
Yes,
on?
it is.
Okay, that was
Oh
very
my
that was very
god!
that was very distracting there, belt loop.
It is.
Come on, nerd.
I was like, what the heck? What is going on over here? But
Oh dear.
but yeah, people
Oh,
will people will give you advice, and to me, I always say, if you see a problem, provide me a solution. Don't just tell me, okay, you should have done this, and you don't have a solution to how I can do things better. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like I don't speak properly, or whatever you decide that I'm not doing right, then just give me a solution, and I will take that to heart. And my whole goal is to make it better. And, I always say, leave things better than you found them, you
Well,
know. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Belt Loop so he can go ahead and give his advice on to the YouTube streets, as DS says. What's your
Okay, well, I
advice to
gotta
the people
go.
out there?
hey, if you want to be more confident in your appearance, I mean, from what I can tell, basically what we're talking about is being more confident on doing YouTube. Being, I guess it pertains to public speaking as well. But if you really want to get confident at just being on YouTube. Sit there and go live for, I don't know, 10 minutes and don't have, just sit there in front of the camera and talk about whatever you want. Talk about how many, read a story. Maybe do the whole, Dr. Seuss, Princess and the Pea, or the coffee, green eggs and ham, whatever. All right. Do it 10 minutes one time, do it 15, another 20, 25. Just keep increasing the period of time. If nobody shows up, nobody shows up. But in the meantime, you just keep doing it. The bottom line is, in my opinion, and you get to where, and you're going to get a few haters in there and be able to recognize them, and be able to swat that mold. Understand, when there's going to be people that don't care what you're talking about. There's going to be people that come in there, especially if you're doing verticals, to where they just wanting to create havoc. They want to throw you off your game. You can either with it. I know BOK, rolls with it a lot. I know that, she's good at messing with trolls. She's a troll herself. Not today, but Lord knows I love watching her.
She's good at it, yeah.
Yes, she is. But the bottom line is just hop on there and do it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Don't wait for a wooden nickel. If you need a wooden nickel, go get in touch with Jamie over at Devil Dogs Keeper. She'll sell you one. But
I got mine.
There we go. You just you get on here and you do it. If you're there, we go. We got another wooden nickel. There we go. So don't worry about. The truth is, ain't nobody good at this. Well, maybe some people are. I ain't, but that don't stop me from talking. So, maybe every now and then, even a blind squirrel find a nut every now and again. You find a little bit of truth in there, but just. If you're scared of it, force yourself into doing it. Maybe you can only go a minute or two. But do what you can and then try to increase that, get a little better. Eventually, you might find yourself a house full of people out there, watching you. You can't ever tell.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
These bananas are all for y'all. We got we got Jerry and we got Windstone here. All I know they into the banana thing.
Oh, dear God.
Oh my gosh. Hey, Bell Troop, I have a whole 20, 25 acres of banana. They're going spoil right now. They're ripening,
Yeah, that's perfect timing for me to be here.
So look, I'm gonna, because we're about 2 minutes out, but I wanted to close it out because for me, and this is gonna resonate with a lot of my, especially my military folks. It's all about reps. What they say takes, and don't quote me on this. Like I said, I don't like putting out bad information. I believe it takes, and I'm not gonna put a number out there. I have it in my head. I just can't remember it. But it takes a certain amount of repetitions for the body to naturally do things, right? What do they call that? Lynn?
21 days.
Muscle memory.
21 days to make it a habit.
Muscle
yes,
memory.
That's true. Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to build your confidence in public speaking, the more you do it, the better you get at it, right?
That is it.
And it's just like everything, most things. If you stop doing it for a while, you kind of lose it, right? I am a firearms instructor, and I can tell you, no matter how good someone can shoot, if they don't do it for a long time, they lose that skill, right? What were you saying, Betlu?
I was asking, did you say 29 times?
Yeah. That's the fire.
Yeah, I don't mean to interrupt,
but Winston,
I gotta go because Eddie's gonna be going live here very soon.
That's what I'm doing. I set up the raid to go over to that other channel.
And
Um,
Winston, yeah, Winston, you gotta remember that the sniper is over here from the defender, right? We
well,
don't
yeah,
miss.
you know, so that's what it's all about. So, in closing, what I want to say is, as we wrap up tonight's conversation, remember something important. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence comes from action, right?
That's right.
Every
Yes,
time you step outside your comfort zone, you get stronger. So whether it's speaking in front of a crowd, starting on a YouTube channel, sharing your voice matters, right? So at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. Your voice matters. So be careful what you say, because whether you're feel like you're an influencer or not, you are an influencer. All right. So thank
yes.
you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate everybody that was on the panel. It was a great discussion as usual. And I will see you on the next one. I love you all.
Blessing, bro. Blessing, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
You can
Thanks
doing
for
the
having
big
us.
team.
Oh, yeah, Reds. Oh, Reds gave me a super chat. So I gotta say, Reds, bless up yourself. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So we're gonna just raid over to where we going, Lynn?
The
Lynn did
devil dogs.
Lynn, we're going over to Devil Dogs channel. So when you get over there, type in food for them raid. And I'm gonna type it in the chat. All right, food for them
All
raid.
right.
So blessings to each and everyone, and I will see you on the next one. Love you guys.
Okay.
Take
Blessings,
care.
blessings.
Good
Blessings to
Good
night.
y'all.
night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Night.